It seems the picture is becoming clearer when it comes to how many fans are going to be allowed at college football games this fall. Governor Beshear has approved the University of Louisville's plan to allow 20% of full capacity. They originally wanted to allow 30% in. Western Kentucky will also be playing in front of a 20% capacity this year. As for schools around the SEC, most are doing between 20 and 25%. Of course, we're still waiting to see what Kentucky's plan for Kroger Field will be. Jennifer, I have to imagine it's going to be somewhere around that 20% mark, especially knowing that Governor Beshear has already given the okay to Western and Louisville.
Yes, and UK fans are getting frustrated. The season kicks off 3 weeks from tomorrow with Kentucky at Auburn, and UK doesn't have its plan released yet. The only SEC schools, other SEC schools that don't, are LSU and Vanderbilt. Everybody else has released their plans. If it is 20%, how do they decide what the 20% is? How are they going to determine what fans can be there and what fans can't be there? So, a lot of these season ticket holders paid their fees back in the winter and are saying, we need to know what's going on and if we're going to get refunds.
And the season ticket holders make up more than 20%. So we know not all of them are going to be able to get in. So that's where the problem lies there. On the high school level, fall sports will get underway next week. Football kicks off next Friday, with other sports beginning as soon as Monday. In Lexington, schools are being allowed to set their own policies on how many family members can come see kids play based on guidance from the KHSAA. School officials say there are no plans for welcoming in the general public. Other districts have announced similar plans, and one in northern Kentucky has announced it will not participate in high contact or close proximity sports this fall, which has drawn protests from some families there. But Jennifer, it all gets underway at some point next week, depending on the sport you play. So we're going to find out how this thing is going to work.
And what we've heard from some of the high school soccer programs is that they're looking at 4 to 5 family members. Their names will be put on a list, and only those people will be allowed to go to every game. Football is a whole different game, though, with so many more players. So it's going to be interesting to see how the high schools figure out how to do it and how to do it safely.
I know. And I know, parents just want to be able to see their kids play. But in order for the kids to play, we got to make sure we do it safely. So there's going to have to be some flexibility on both sides there. It's a bittersweet occasion for us tonight on Hey Kentucky. You are watching our final episode. And we're not going away entirely. Keith Farmer and I and several others are going to still be on at this time when BBN Tonight premieres on September 14th at 7:30. But we're going to take next week off to retool and get ready for the big changeover. So tonight we thought we'd take a look back at some of my favorite moments from Hey Kentucky. That included the time I surprised Drew Franklin with rolled chicken tacos bisque. It was a holiday creation known as the ultimate Thanksgiving soup, suggested by Drew's favorite restaurant, Taco Bell. He absolutely hated it and hated me for it. Then there were some times when my son Sam made a cameo on the show.
It's that time of year. Daylight saving time is ending, and we're turning our clocks back this weekend. Fact or fiction? We should get rid of daylight saving.
And I mean, I'm dying because his voice has changed 10 octaves since then. That was back in 2016 when he was on. My proudest moment, though, on Hey Kentucky came this past summer when our producer asked me to recount my family's personal experience with racial issues in a time where they're at the forefront of the national conversation. And I was so happy to get to do that. And Jennifer, you've gotten to host this show before. I do really want to take a second to say thank you and acknowledge Matt Jones, who created this whole idea, got the ball rolling on Hey Kentucky, gave me a shot back on TV. We wouldn't be here without Matt. So a huge thanks to him and all the people who have joined our show over the years.
And I'm glad I just had an opportunity to be part of it, even for just a couple of weeks, because I've been a huge fan all along.
Yeah, this has been so much fun to do. So it'll be a lot of fun to do BBN Tonight. You got to watch that starting on September 14th. Now on Hey Kentucky, in case you missed it, a review of recent headlines. Senator Mitch McConnell has received the endorsement from the state's Fraternal Order of Police. The Senate Majority Leader says law enforcement has always been an issue, but it's been on full display this year, citing recent protests across the country. And he calls the idea of defunding the police a nutty one. The confrontation involving Kentucky's other senator has led to the arrest of a Florida man. Brennan Sermon is accused of punching a police officer after fleeing the scene where Rand Paul says he was attacked by an angry mob following last week's GOP national convention. And hundreds of former miners in Kentucky and other states could receive payments under a proposal involving a bankrupt coal company. The agreement would settle claims that Black Jewel didn't give workers the required notice that they would be laid off before the bankruptcy more than a year ago. Up next on Hey Kentucky, longtime LEX 18 sports director Alan Cutler has written a book in his retirement. I'll talk to him about some of the True Blue stories in Cut to the Chase when we return.